Okay. I think we are live. And for those watching the replay, this is the first night that I'm also going to be simultaneously attempting to record the footage. So hopefully I can upload it to places like YouTube. So hopefully everything goes well. I've never tried to use my computer to simultaneously record and stream. So hopefully it works. All right, so tonight what we're going to be doing is we are going to be painting up one of these new Tiras WarMechs. This also has the missile launcher I'm going to be painting separately, mostly because it's going to sit right here in this gap, and I feel like I'm going to do a better job with it being separate. I normally, as you can see, I normally paint my mechs already assembled. Tanks, because it's very easy with it being just a turret, I normally will paint those separately and then, from the hull. But with a mech, I don't know, I kind of like seeing how it's going to look when it's assembled to kind of guide everything that I'm going to be painting. Yeah, so here we go. We got two of these tonight. I know I won't be able to get to both being finished. I think I want to do the in motion one. I like this particular pose a lot. So this will be the one that I'm going to go with. So we're just going to set this other guy aside. I have one of these Musketeer WarMechs that I painted in the past on the stream. And what I want to do with this is use it as a reference guide for when I'm painting the Tiras, because this is Musketeer painted up in the 7th Queen's Fury forces for Haven. So I would, obviously, both of the Tiras to kind of follow that same sort of, not only colors, but in paint location, more or less. So I have, okay, there's my emerald paint. And I think we're basically good to go other than that. Set those aside. Okay, what do I need first? Let's do the gray, the So what I've been using. Hey Jam, how are you? They look even better printed than in any picture. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, especially this Tiras. This is my first time seeing one. This is the 2nd gen prototype. So this is the first one I was able to assemble. The 1st gen just had a couple of the defects I had to fix with the support placement, but I mean, this one has turned out really good. There's one little spot here that I would probably update on the supports, but I mean, overall, you do a little bit of cleanup with a hobby knife. Yeah, you got to do it. Well, thank you, Verg. Funny enough, the feet were one of the things that I've gotten most kickback, if you will, pardon the pun, because we were going with a different style at first, and I was like, man, I keep looking at that, and I just don't really like it. So it was my idea to go with this more like quad foot, and thankfully Ion Raptor was willing to do that, so I think it looks a lot better. Plus, it ties in with the Musketeer. Oops, I'm off camera. It ties in with the Musketeer also having, actually I didn't even mean to have both of these in motion in the same direction. The quad foot, even though the Musketeer lore-wise is a old Core Republic mech, it makes sense for continuity, kind of continuing. So we're going to start with the uniform gray. And start that off for, thankfully we don't need a whole lot of the gray. Don't have to feel like I'm wasting it or something. How are you gentlemen doing this evening? Mix this up. Kind of was cutting it down to the wire my freelance work. Well, it wasn't really a freelance day. It's my primary client. It's not really technically as much freelance as like when I do like pickup jobs. We've switched my hours this week. So normally in the last couple of months, I've been getting off at 3 o'clock. And today I got off at 5. So I had to like hurry and like assemble these and get them primed, eat dinner. But everything ended up working out. Doing well, didn't have to work, so I get to enjoy the stream. Hey, how about that? Well, I'm glad that you're joining in on the fun this evening. Okay, so looking at the Musketeer as like a point of reference. The gray is only on the top, and it's kind of like just an accent color. So why don't we do this top panel? Make sure I'm on camera. Do this. Which is going to have a thin coat of gray, so I'll have to come back. But so like up there. Let's see, what else did we do? Nothing underneath. Oh no, there was one underneath. But then it also has emerald on both arms, so sort of. Let me do this. I was trying to pick some different music than recycling the same stuff I had last time, but now I don't always listen to the playlist. I just like royalty-free music. This is an interesting topic. Okay, so some gray there, kind of make up for. Maybe we'll paint this up here too. All right, now. Let's see. Make you out for what you say to me. Look at every single date. If you got what I need, then I'll take you on like a big deal. Legs you can unfeel. Key ignition. Just keep me full like I had a meal once in a while. Feel so I did I'm really hyped to get my hands on both of these. For what, the Musketeer and the Tiras? Because these, it's not like the Musketeer was ever a bad mech before, but I don't know, it kind of felt like it was going to be difficult to paint. And then Strieger went and redesigned it, and it is such a better model. I am so happy with how it turned out. The old way was good, but like I was saying, it was over detailed in some spots, so it was just going to make miniature painting it going to be difficult. But now it's like it's not. It's a phenomenal thing to paint, and the Tiras has turned out really well too. Way better than what I was worried it was going to be. Because I sometimes have a difficulty, and I've talked about this like in my podcast and other things, that like I have a difficulty when we're going through the modeling phase. I sometimes, especially in the early weeks, I see it as like being this really like blocky and simple, and I just always like, oh man, I don't know if it's gonna turn out good, because I've had some models that I never showed anybody. They stopped in development, like the Goblin that you guys all know is like 4th generation. There were 3 other modelers that attempted to do it and ended up quitting. So I don't know. And that was like in the very beginning, like 2019, early 2020. So like I was still kind of like, oh, how's it going to turn out? But I'm really happy with how it did. Yeah, the stats for the Tiras are I'm hoping everybody enjoys them. They're different. I kind of use the Sierra a lot was referenced because the Tiras is supposed to be kind of like the Haven's answer for the Sierra, right? So kind of makes sense to use it as like a primary reference point. All the updates look better for the factions they belong to. Yeah, thank you. That's good. I'm sure all the modelers and artists will be happy to hear that more and more. Hey, Whoa, how are you doing? But yeah, I wanted the burst cannons. I was like, these could go kind of either way. They could be like a fully automatic weapon. It's like, no, I think something that resembles the 14D cannon for the Sierra. So if it fires in like a burst, it has sort of similar damage output potential. So it kind of ends up being very similar to like a ballistic goblin, except it doesn't have the critical, extra critical at a 9+ instead of a 10. And it has extended burst. So it's like, well, that's something different, right? Kind of reimagining something that's overall kind of feels similar to other weapon platforms. Awesome. Yeah, if you guys don't know, Woe is now assisting us with the blog that we've just launched. So he's our first project together, which really he's the one writing, I'm just editing, is about the Tiras. So kind of fun thing. I need to get some more stuff over to him, but I mean, it's moving along and I'm excited about it. I feel like I should put the gray in one more spot. I also feel like I'm kind of fighting it and trying to just make it fit. Yeah, what about that? How about that panel right there? That might be a good one. This panel right here. Okay. Let that dry for a moment, maybe. Well, I'm letting that dry. Why don't we go ahead and move on to the other Tiras, because I've already got this gray mixed up, so we might as well not waste it. I don't need very much anyway, so. There we go. On this side now. So I know I still need to create the mercenary stats as well as the Blood Wolf, because Blood Wolves will be getting their own Tiras. I've already been starting conversations with Ion Raptor to start working on some additional bits so that we can do a energy and a missile variant. Those won't be available at launch, obviously, because those will still be in development, but it won't be too far beyond, because, you know, we're just swapping out the lower arm section missile pod if we choose to switch that, and then we have two other attachment points. The Golan heavy machine gun is going to stay probably on all versions. That's its anti-infantry answer kind of thing. Ah. Yeah. How the... Haven't had a bot in here for a couple of different streams. Let's just, Hey, bot, you can stay if you'll, I'll just ban. Bot. Ka-chow. That's a shame because you finally get like this really big comment and I'm like, oh, look at that. Someone typed it. Oh, darn it. It's just a stupid bot. I feel like I'm going to have to change this music because this is not at all putting me in the painting mood. I was having trouble on YouTube finding different Well, if you have like a big question or something, you're more than welcome to, Jam. I need to change this music. This is messing with me. Let's finish this top panel up. Not a lot. Not the best when I'm trying to like paint and focus. I don't know if this is the best either. I just didn't want to keep recycling the same like couple of things, but I was having difficulty on YouTube. I was like royalty-free music, and it was like it kept coming up with synthwave stuff, which is fine, except that I was trying to find something different for tonight, and I couldn't find like any like pre-made playlists. It was like 3-minute here, 2-minute videos. Like, no, I want something where it's like 50 minutes, an hour, where I don't have to like worry about it. But it wasn't cooperating, so. No, you are more than welcome, Jam, to ask questions. And if it's something that I feel I can't answer, I will tell you I can't answer that. But otherwise, no, you're fine. No, I mean, part of the reason that we can do these live events, like streams, is to give people an opportunity to interact. And it's also my opportunity to kind of nerd out about Revelation. So ask away. The one downside is I needed to clean my airbrush, but I needed to get this done for tonight and I didn't have time. So I have to clean it before next time, but I'll pop this off here. There was a little bit of fuss. Just trying to fix it so that you can actually see the missile launcher box detail. It's not anything grand, but you know. The Mechanicus soundtrack, I don't think I've listened to that one. Ooh. Come on now. Oh, I'm gonna get my tweezers. Synthwave and organ music, okay. My wife likes to tease me because she's like, sounds like you're like listening to like 80s music. I'm like, I'm not. It's synthwave. Technically, sort of kind of inspired, but it's not. It's not the same. Not that it's bad to listen to it, but you know. Oh, hey, Ion. Painting up the Tiras. Actually, well, kind of in between two of them, but I am doing that. I messed something up here on the missile launcher I was trying to remedy. Because my idea is I'm going to paint these boxes gray because I got that gray already mixed up. There we go. It's tiny, so it's a little hard to see, but it's there. Oh, you are? If you would like, Ion, I'm more than happy to send you the supported versions I have, although you're more than welcome to place the supports yourself. It'd be interesting to kind of see how you do it. What in the world? How did the banner move? That doesn't even make sense. How could that have moved? Did I do it by accident when I was messing with the music and I just didn't see it? And here I am trying to like, oh look, I got a banner in my Twitch stream. Messing it up. Eek. Alright, that one's done. It could be. I hope not. I hope it's not a ghost banner. That just doesn't sound like a good time at all. Oof. Scared myself. So not really, the gray isn't really meant to be like really super standout-y. It's mostly just here for a little bit of breaking up the green in theory. I don't know. I'm not much for color theory of any sort, so I kind of just do what I feels like the right colors. All right. That will be it for the gray, unless these need it. I feel like those are okay, except I might do a little tiny touch up here. Oof. All right. Done with the gray. I don't want to do the emerald yet. Let's go ahead and start the black so that has time to dry. So that when we come back, I can do the emerald and then do the gunmetal. Have you ever gone and looked up camos for potential future use on faction-specific units? In, like, do you just mean, like, realistic camo? Because I've I've spent some time thinking about camouflage colors, and that some of the units would use, unless they were like at some sort of special event, they would absolutely only use camo colors. And then there's other guys even whether they're in the Republic or the Union, mercenaries, whomever, and they're just like, no, we're going to stick with our parade colors because we want you to know who we are. So they don't try to hide it. But others have no issue, like Blood Wolves. Blood Wolves want you to know that it's the Blood Wolves that are there. They want you to know. Except maybe under certain circumstances, they might paint more of a camouflage color. Some of the other militaries, or like the Ethereal Kingdom, those guys that are the Templar pilots, they don't become Templar pilots because they're hiding or that they're camouflaged. They are bold, you know, they have no problem being out in the front because they have to be, you know, this their idea of this honorable, brave warrior. So their giant Templar WarMech needs to do the exact same thing as what they would do when they were paladins. But some of the other mercenaries, the Core Republic has no issue camouflaging when needed. Sometimes they don't want to because it's like the Republic is invading a planet or the Republic is defending itself. So they don't want to come across as hiding. But there will be certain legions within the Republic that when they do invade a planet, their job is to kind of blend in, because sometimes in an invasion, you can get pushed back or you can lose ground, or reinforcements from the enemy can show back up, from the defender can show up. So if you have some forces that are kind of meant to show the Republic's might and others that are like, yeah, no, we're here to win, so we're going to kind of blend in with the terrain or with, you know, whatever. It's just a different approach, but still the same, moving the same direction. Didn't you do the Dazzle Camel, Verg? I was looking at real ones and some of the places like camo specs. Yeah. So I like camouflage. I want to experiment with some. I've been so preoccupied right now that like when I'm painting, I want to show off the parade colors because, you know, it's more unique. You know, if you're on a planet that looks like a desert, for example, or a forest or whatever, you could end up having, for example, the Union and the Republic having very similar paint schemes because they're trying to blend in with the terrain. Well, when you're playing, you know, when you're doing advertisement, that is super boring looking, or it's confusing looking for your community. So I've just been more of like, okay, we need vibrant colors so that when they're photographed, it's very clear where they are. It's very clear that they're standing out. So that, like, you know, I'm doing a color scheme that is some oranges and some yellows and browns mixed in together, but the vibrant green and emerald really makes this guy stand out. So, but I recognize that the Queen's Fury forces might completely go in camouflage in the real world. Orange, magenta, and lime green. That could be kind of cool. I try to challenge myself most of the time because, you know, Battletech has so many color schemes, and there's other games that do too. But Battletech, you know, a lot of us we know it. And Battletech has some really nice paint schemes that are just really solid, right? That would work in so many other applications. And I try to challenge myself to try to find something that I haven't seen done before. Or if I pick, because like blue and white is super common, right? That's in a lot of things, but don't do it like House Steiner forces or something, because I don't want to appear like I'm stealing colors or something from another brand. Like that's not in good taste, right? Even if they are good colors, you try to come up with something different or a different way of doing it. But sometimes it's really hard because they've been around so long, they've taken up a lot of color schemes. At some point, you'll be doing so by accident. Yeah, I know. And they don't own the market on reds or yellows or, you know, anything like that. But trying to... I already have enough issues sometimes where people are like, oh, that mech is this mech or something. And it's like, well, no, it's not. They're very different. So I try to be aware of public perception as well so that I don't... cross over. as much as can be helped. Like you said, at some point it's going to happen anyway, just because there's only so many color combinations that are good for a a combat game. I'm sure there's a lot of free real estate in the hot pink market, but I don't think I'll go there too often myself. At least with the color schemes that I choose. Light turquoise, white, light gray, and orange is an incredible combo. That sounds cool too. Yeah, well, Slanesh can't take all of hot pink. That's not fair. And I do actually try to pay attention as well to Games Workshop stuff and try not, because while I'm making a game with giant robots, so that does attract BattleTech viewers. Anybody who's playing miniature games is probably aware to some degree of Warhammer 40k. So try to not walk onto that landmine if I can help it. The best suggestion would be pick paint schemes based on planet, biomes, or flags. If you go with something like flag insignias, the colors have strong meaning to those fielding them. That's true. And right now we've been doing a lot of black and white logos. I actually have a new logo coming up, a revised logo finally, for Orca, the generic Orca flag. And then we'll also have one for Haven finally. And who was the other one? The Ethereal Kingdom. Yeah. I already got the 4 main houses for the Ethereal Kingdom done. And now we're working on a generic common flag. Or logo, I mean. To represent them as a nation. That'll be fun. Then the last one that I really need to get done for Orca is the AB&T subfaction, which is really a corporation that owns multiple planets. And then Orca will have their primary logos done, which is super cool. But what I was getting at is that down the road, I would like to be able to start doing colored logos as well, but those cost more, so I've just had to hold off on that to just balance budget and everything kind of deal. Yes, these are Queen's Fury. Yeah, the 7th Queen's Fury. And I don't remember if this is covered in Tortuga. I think it is. Basically, the Queen's Fury is because typically it was called the King's Fury, because normally Haven was ruled by a king. This is, I believe, the very first time that Haven has ever been ruled by a queen, and she's unmarried. So when Abigail Black took over Haven and her clan took over, she overthrew the previous king, who was not a good guy, and then basically was like, "No, I'm gonna take over. I'm," because her dad was assassinated. He was the previous king. Then the other clan's king took over, and then Abigail came back and took it because it was rightfully hers. Because she had, would have been hers with the way everything went. All right. Let's do... We got black mixed up. We're going to do this one. Yep. Abigail Black. So, anyway, the Queen's Fury, that unit is renamed every time that there's another, when one of the other clans takes over. So, like, if one clan was the ruling clan for 400 cycles, it would just stay, I don't know, the 2nd King's Fury, because it was the 2nd time that it switched to a different clan. So when Abigail Black took over, her clan took back over, so technically it became the 7th. So if a different clan obviously were to take over from her, then it would be the 8th, whatever, King's Fury or Queen's Fury. And they are the primary garrison force for Tortuga. So the Tortuga PDF has a page about them. And obviously their color scheme, which is what we're doing right here. There's a part of me that really wants to tell the story of how Abigail Black became Queen of Haven and how that all worked, because she went into hiding after her father was killed. She actually went into hiding with the Blood Wolves. So, kind of designed it to be a cool story that would follow not only Abigail, but a earlier version of the Blood Wolves before they became what they are today. And today, that they're one of the more feared mercenary forces that there are. Because they're good at what they do. I think it sounds like a fun story, and I have it more or less like mapped out, and it's like, well, we could either do it like I feel like it would have to be like a trilogy though. And you're like, well, then if it's a trilogy, that's a lot of work. Does it make sense in the scope of everything else going on? Well, it would have if I would have started a year ago. Then when we're launching all the Haven stuff, it would have been cool to cross promote it. Try to get in there if I can. Yeah, actually short stories would be cool to do with that. I mean, I've wanted to definitely grow and expand the Blood Wolves' entire lore and everything with them, because they are important to things going on. Hey, Jungle. Yeah, there is. They're over here. I got them. I just wanted to paint them separate. Thought they'd look a little better. Let's just do these here. This will be, once I get these two done, that's the 3rd and 4th WarMechs for Queen's Fury. I've already got the infantry done, thankfully. My hands look dry because, it's cold down here in Florida. All right? And then when it gets cold, my hands dry out a little bit. It's all right. Yeah, and I don't know. The cold weather definitely does do that to my hands. I don't know. I know it doesn't do it to like my wife, but I have to try to make sure I'm drinking enough water when it's cooler. All right, that's done. You know what? I'm gonna paint these black. Hey, Stumble. Yeah, it's a little cold. No. It wasn't 71 last night. I don't know what it got down to last night, but the night before, it was 32. And you know how I know it was cold? When I had to leave first thing in the morning, and I had ice on my windshield. So that doesn't happen all the time down here. Okay, kind of freaked me out a little bit. And like the difference of moving an hour north, like I've never seen actual ice on my windshield before, ever. And it's crazy because I was just at my parents' place yesterday, and like there was a legitimate, it's not a lot, but you can just tell it just feels cooler here. I don't know if well, I guess because where I was from, it's Pinellas County, so it's the peninsula. On the peninsula, you're surrounded by water. Over like 75% of the county is surrounded by water. So it didn't usually get quite as cold there. So we're outside of that now. Well, I'm glad I'm not out in the Midwest. It would make me look like a leper. You have ice on your windshield for 5 months? That's nuts. Why do you stay there? I don't know how Florida Man was doing. I don't normally hang out with him. He's kind of crazy for me. I just try to watch out he's not looking for gators that are hibernating out in the, half asleep in the water to try to go and go throw them at somebody. Because that unfortunately happens. No, it is not. And it's also, I actually, up here, I actually get to wear my my hoodie because it's usually, I'm always so hot. I never can. But even in my house, I'm just wearing like shorts and a t-shirt. So I don't want to accidentally. I got to get a little bit closer there. He definitely does. Florida Man definitely does locate and obtain plenty of gators. I don't know why. This time of year, it'd be easy to go catch some of those iguanas down in the Miami area because they fall out of trees when they get cold. And they just lay there. They're not dead. They tell you not to touch them because when they like thaw out, they're back up and they're moving. Hey, Jungle, some of us are trying to do, primo work, okay? So like it takes a little while to make sure I don't go a little farther. Plus, I can't really hold the model the way that I want to because I'm trying to make sure everyone can see it. Try not to have to come back and do 30 minutes of touching up because I touch one thing and then I fix it, then I touch something else. Born in Virginia and it snowed 1 year. My family being from Michigan thought nothing of it played in the snow and the neighbors stared in disbelief. I have a paint handle. I don't like it. I like to just suffer, I guess, when I'm painting. It's a little, I don't know, it's easier. Once we get past this, we can start doing the emerald. That'll be fun, right? You can really see that. It's super vibrant. Looks really nice. Spared no expense. Yeah, I've thought about it. About using a glove, but since these are going to be getting handled anyway, I kind of need to know if it's going to mess them up, right? Or is that wrong? Is that wrong thinking? Is that a wrong way to think about it? It could be. It really could be. These are not Jade Falcons. Jade Falcons don't get to own everything that's green. Okay? Even though I do support Jade Falcons. Not the Malvina Hazen people, but, you know, the other ones. When they're not just killing the public. Clearly, thank you, Woe. Thank you. And like Jade Falcons are more like a bright green. I know how to paint them. Okay, I know how to paint Jade Falcons. You can hate to break it to me all you want. I know I'm not wrong. No, they're not always killing the public because sometimes they have to sleep. Okay. And I only picked them because everybody else and their grandmother is like, ooh, Clan Wolf, ooh. Furries. This is such a good color mixture. I don't know, I used this not that long ago and it feels like it's really settled. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, woo, Clan Wolf. Okay, but being almost as bad as the Jaguars is not the same as being as bad as the Jaguars, okay? Second place sometimes is the best prize. Because they didn't get completely destroyed. Yeah, see, it's a redeeming quality about the Falcons. They're not furries. That's something. Yeah. War crimes. Yeah. Yeah, it's not right. It's bad. I get it. You're not wrong. But I mean, like, the Innersphere did it worse, to be fair. They, like, blasted themselves backwards. So, I mean, like, who's really the bad guys here? And that's where the Falcons always are second place. Ooh. That's harsh. Jade Falcon players over in the corner. Ooh, be strong. But this isn't a Jade Falcon scheme. It's not though. I mean, like, when the whole like clan concept of like combat is just goofy. We're gonna bid. We're gonna send 15 mechs, and the 15 mechs will take the entire planet. What now? The what? Yeah, they'll do it. That doesn't make any sense. But Rick, their mechs are bigger. That still doesn't make any sense. Eek. Don't mess up. Yay! Really makes sense if you understand their stupid mindset. I mean, That applies to a lot of things, I guess, then. Ooh. Oh. Gotta do this side. Might make sense. The entire civilized hub of a planet is like the size of a small town. Well, but then then that's not really a planet so much as that's like a colony. It's on a planet. That's more of like just pumping up your planet numbers. Like, yeah, we got that planet. Just 10 people that live there, but it's a planet, man. It's a planet. Do they get special privileges and representation in the government for being a planet? No, of course not. But they're counted as a planet when I count the planets and I want to brag to the other, house lords. That's all. Exactly. Rookie numbers. Got to bump that up. I only need one person to be there to be considered a colonized planet. The clans didn't go and send 5 dudes to take Luthien. Well, whatever. I'm not exactly super familiar because I'm not a big Kirita fan. I like the dragon though, but it's pretty much where it ends. Alright, so we need to do I don't want to paint the entire shoulder of this emerald, so why don't we do just this area here. See how this goes. How much I like this or don't like this. You know what really is a shame, and I haven't read the books, so I don't really know how to the full extent, but as I understand it, is the Republic of the my goodness, Republic of the Sphere is all gone. That's unfortunate, but that's because I'm actually a Dark Age fan, and I know that that's sacrilege to a lot of BattleTech players, but it's because I grew up with MechWarrior Dark Age, so to me that's a good era. Ooh, that's a nice panel that could be emerald. Yes, I am a Dark Age fan. I know there are lots of flaws, but I grew up with that, so. Banson's Raiders was my freaking favorite faction for a long time. Well, thank you, Woe. I like the way the foot turned out, too. That explains so much. Whatever. I grew to enjoy and love them. Yeah, they're not everybody's thing, and I get why people aren't a fan of it, I get that. But, I don't know, I also, myself, don't understand staying only in one era of the lore. So I like... But I don't know anything really about, to be fair, I don't really know anything about the new Ill Clan era because I've kind of, I don't want to say I've gotten out of BattleTech, but just, obviously being involved in my own game and my own IP now, this is my primary focus. So is the olive and teal the primary color scheme that armies, including the TRS, will have when I print mine? It's the primary color for Haven, essentially, but the T-Ross is also launching for Mercenary Forces and Blood Wolves, if you want to paint one white. If you've seen the way that I've done the Blood Wolf figures. But I mean, like, mercenaries can be like any color, and different units within Haven will paint their stuff differently, just like all the other factions. So it gives players room to be able to decide their own paint schemes. I'm just doing the standard, like, parade color. It's like generic for the whole faction, so people know what the main parade scheme looks like, kind of deal. I saw that, Berg. Wolves, man, everything has gotten a pot, including the wolves mostly. Yeah. Clan Wolf took Terra. Yeah, I know. I knew that. And I know that they beat out the clans at the, or sorry, not the clans, obviously the clans, but Jade Falcon, they beat them out. The Jihad and Dark Ages are the perfect settings for the campaigns and RPGs. That's true. There is a lot of room for that stuff. I don't know, the Dark Age game obviously is a like, if you're trying to play Battletech, it's not going to work, right? Not at all. It's not going to work. But I enjoyed it for what it was, and especially because that was my very first miniature game. Because I was only like 13 at the time when I first got into it. And I got into it at the end of, I think, the Death from Above set, which was set number 3, had just come out, or was about to come out. It was something around there. So it'd only been out for about a year or so before I got into it. And I stayed with it until right before the last set. I don't remember why I kind of fell out of it. I didn't like the upgrade options in the game. I felt that kind of... I wouldn't have known the term at the time, but it was kind of min-maxing more than just list building min-maxing, and it just, I don't know, it kind of lost its fun. But I also was having issues with the group that I was playing in. It just, there was a known cheater that was in there, and because he was friends with the organizer, he was allowed to play. Like, man. But I got pretty good at the game. I really enjoyed it. Obviously winning is fun, but if they made the game again like today, I probably would still get into it. Just for nostalgia, at first, and then at least enough maybe to just own a little bit of it. It's not tainted by the clans. You can play 3049. Have you thought of stealth units as of yet being in the verse, or like active camos? Well, active camo, actually, the Bruticus power armor for Union of Stars uses a active camo. It's not like the Predator, where like they're basically invisible, or like in Halo. It's more of like it distorts the view of electronic optics, which basically everything in Revelations uses that to some degree or another. So it interferes with that the further away it is from whatever's looking at them. So then they have like an in-game, if you're more than, I think it's 6 inches, they get a modifier, or is it 8? So I've kind of thought about introducing some more, but I didn't want... I'm always kind of concerned that I'm going to create something that kind of throws off the balance of the game, and you're like, yeah, why would I ever take the Spade ever again when I can take this active camo Sierra? It's clearly better than everything. So I try to... That's always in my mind of, is this going to go too far? But you can balance that with points. I guess we've been so busy with just developing the mainline stuff that I haven't even gotten into like the specialty forces yet. But I do want to. Yeah, Union of Star. Yeah, there's not. I hope to make some other lore for them to kind of get some more love their way. I feel like they kind of get forgotten, which is weird because they're the ones with the big railguns. So I thought that there'd be more people over there with them. Personally, trying to model something to look stealth is hard. Lots of strange angles and not a lot of room for details. Yeah, that's the other thing, is it's not always visually appealing. If it's throwing off the game, it needs to cost more. Yeah, you could do that. I'm looking at the concept in Warfleet, though, because I've been looking at... I'm not a naval connoisseur by any stretch, but I've been looking at, okay, you got different types of boats. You got cruisers and destroyers and frigates and battleships and all this. And I was like, well, what replaces the submarine? Because the whole point of the submarine is it's attacking from underneath the water, but you lose that element in space. So I was like, well, maybe the equivalent to a submarine would be like a stealth ship. And so I've been trying to figure out, like, well, how would that work in the sense of like a fleet game? And maybe it won't. Maybe it's there's just too much other stuff. Maybe you would use those for like a smaller mission where you're just trying to like deep strike something essentially. But we'll see. I'm trying to figure out a way to integrate it. I think it can be done. So why would you play a major nation instead of a merc unit? Major nation units do cost less. All mercenaries have a built-in mercenary tax because you can mix units from other factions. So in order to kind of prevent someone from, oh, I'm going to take this, this, and this because they're the same price as everybody else, I wanted to put in that tax to sort of not handicap them, but to sort of prevent crazy stuff from happening, which is why we put the cap for, like, you can only take 12 combat units right now in the game, because you don't want somebody taking an army of Centurion power armor, and because they've got like 100 models on the table, you just can't kill them fast enough before they just whittle your forces down. That's more of like the in-game reason. Out of game, that's up to everybody. The mercs are going to have just about everything in their catalog. At this point, they have a lot. There will be some things down the road that I want to make is like, yeah, this is more of like a... I kind of battled with that. It's like, well, like the Ares, the Union of Stars is not really going to let an Ares go missing. Why? They use the Ares to shoot down ships that are entering, that are coming to invade their planet. So they're mobile turrets. They have their own planetary defense turrets, but then they use the Ares to kind of shoot things down before it lands, and then they use the Chimera WarMech that hasn't been developed all the way yet, and that's to artillery strike the things that are on the surface. So would the Union really let one of those go missing? Well, it's like, they wouldn't want to, but then the Five Skulls, who have a large operation within the Union of Stars, and who are like a criminal underworld mafia kind of mixture, they'd probably be able to figure out a way to steal one, and then they just sell it to somebody. Why wouldn't they want to use it? They're not as big on building a big military. They're more about business and their contacts. And, they can charge top dollar to sell an Ares to somebody. Mercenaries every now and then will secure one, but an Ares would be kind of rare. It would be kind of rare. You can make stealth offset like in real life, that they can't carry much outside the body without losing the stealth. Yeah, that's true. So then it becomes more of I have less weapons, but I'm harder to hit because of the stealth factor. But I'd have to just play with it. I'm not... The idea is definitely open. It would just require some play testing to kind of test that out. Less Star Trek stealth and more Mass Effect stealth. Yeah, that could work, yeah. Oh, you want to see the Arbalest? I'm going to go grab it. It's right over here. So I had it out over in the corner back there is my photography area, and I've been working on that. Thankfully, Jungle Plague has been helping a lot with that. So I did take a picture the other day. Color's a little off here, but it's all finished. I might add a little bit of stuff to the base, but otherwise, like the model itself is done. I'll end up painting another one later for the variant. But I'm happy with it. It's a really good model. It's a really good model. But yeah, I've got this, one of the hunters painted up, all for, you know, the stuff that we're doing here together for the Queen's Fury and all that combined project. Well, thank you guys. Yeah. These are so going to be great having fields of my own. No, the Arbalest it's one of those designs where you're like, it's so chunky, but it looks so cool. I kind of was experimenting with the paint job. It's not my favorite. I need to do one that's kind of more, because I've kind of learned more of like how I wanted to paint. Because that one was painted, unfortunately, a couple months ago, and it's just moving and stuff sucked and kind of messed things up. But I'm going to be working on stats for that soon. I'm really pumping out the Haven stuff. Then I need to catch up on the Hunter and the Arbalest. And then we start looking at the Faust Union stuff. So it's all good things. Oh, so do I. Jam. The Arbalest idea, the way that this is now, my wife had found this old drawing book that I had. It was just a notebook that I drew all kinds of mechs in. And there was one mech that I drew that it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't remember how it had something like 100 missiles on it or something, but it was the same sort of concept of like these giant boxy missile arms and then just missiles on the shoulders and lasers. And it was an absolutely way over the top overkill design by a child, but it reminded me that when I saw that, I was like, I really used to love the idea of something just covered in weapons. And it kind of eventually morphed into like the idea of the Arbalest, and now there's an actual design that works with that. Yes, that was right. Yeah, that was the first one. This was the first project actually with both Jungle Plague and with Ion. So, and it is really, everything that we've done together has been really good models. And thanks to everyone who's helped with that, including Kursala, who, you know, comes in at the end of things sometimes, but helps seal the deal and move it to the rest of the way, carry it across. Does the Arbalest have dumbfire or target lock missiles? So the ARM missiles, oh, the music stopped, are target lock. The weapons on its shoulder are blitz pods, and basically, if you've seen the Archer tank, it's those, but just a larger box of them. And those are projectiles, but they fire just like all at once. They blitz, they just pepper whatever they were shooting at and just shred it, because they just get hit by so much all at once. But the cool thing about the Arbalest, at least back in the day, was that the missiles had like the keyword up and over before it was really as all over the place as it is now. But let's see, what else can we do? Let's do this little box. So like the big thing back then was that it could shoot from cover. That was in like the alpha testing, like, my goodness, if you would have seen those rules back then compared to now, very different game. Now we need one covered in rotary guns for max. I'm not against that. Kind of like their anti-aircraft version. It's just kill all the aircraft and that just goodbye. That would be like absolutely terrifying. Like this whole like fighter wing is just coming in to just bomb the crap out of some location, and then out steps a lone Arbalest and it's just covered in like heavy arms level machine guns and just hoses the air. And just they're gone. It'd be absolutely just terrifying, I think. Let's see. What else did I do here? I did the outside and I did the knee, which I've done. No. I'm gonna have it be countered. So let's do this one. It's not quite Vega arms. It'd be a little different. Perfect arbalist. And then what? You have to put it on treads though still, or no? Still have the arbalist legs. Eek. So then the missile launcher, why don't we... Yeah. Paint this emerald as well. And that way when it's assembled, it'll be a nice little color combo. New Vega arms, the legs are perfect. Yeah, well, they are good. It's funny, but I think the arbalist is still my favorite. No, there's nothing wrong with it. The arbalist is a sexy mech. I'm very happy with the arbalist. The arbalist is one of those. Every now and then, you know, some of the machines, even like the Tiras, is like it's something special. The Juggernaut, the Sierra, which the Sierra needs to be updated, not to lose its triangular self, but like at this point the model's just old, unfortunately. It was the very first one we did. It needs to be revised. Mostly like the limbs, and then it needs deeper panel lines on the torso. I feel like it's taking. There we go. Way too long to do that. Well, don't have plans, Jungle. You're gonna have to like do it, because I want to see it. Show me up. Do a better arbalist. I'm looking forward to, if Stommel's still here, I'm looking forward to seeing him paint that Ares. Because so far there's only been one other Ares that's been shown to me that's been painted. I haven't painted one yet, and that was by Strieger. I plan to get around to one so I can add it to my Benson forces. Waits on files. Yeah, well, where's that Anya at? Huh? I haven't painted mine yet either, but you know. No, I need to do another adjustment to the files, and I was waiting until it was warmer so that I could. Then the T-Ross got done, and I was like, oh well, I want to test this out. But I need to get back to that arbalist to finish it off, because I'm planning on. I'd like to be able to release it maybe the first week of next month. I wanted to do it this month, but there's been some shakeups of things. Whacking the light with my paintbrush. Once the weather warms up. Yeah, okay, yeah, sweet. No, that'll be cool. But that'll be like what? April? Yeah, I sent you the Anya files. You were like, yeah, when it warms up, when my basement isn't like an icy dungeon or something that you said. You were gonna print it. Pretty sure I sent you files for both poses too. So let's see. I'm going to just pause on the emerald here for a little bit. I want to see. Totally forgot. Yeah. Story of my life. What other color should I do for yellow? What about fire lizard? Yeah. I'm gonna test this bad boy out. Nah, nope, too bright. We're gonna do basilisk brown first. I don't know which mech will paint the best, print the best on FDM. I don't know. Like I was telling you the other night, Sierra does well. But I don't know. There might be someone who has a little bit better experience with FDM printing to be able to kind of like eyeball, like, yeah, that one will probably do good. Because that's not me. I do know there was a guy in the Discord server. He'll post an update every now and then. He doesn't play Revelations. He saw some of our files and he bought the Vega, and he's printing a Vega. I mean, it looks like it's got to be the hull's got to be like this big, like 10 inches long, 12 inches long. It's massive. He hasn't posted an update in a little while, but he was doing it like every month or something. He was posting. I'd like to see where that's gone, because that's going to be an absolutely crazy sized model. Try to paint this spotlight here, sort of, which doesn't have any in-game values yet, but I'm planning to. I just needed to get something up. I try not to George Lucas any more than I have to, but sometimes I have to just get it up there. I'm too afraid to print something that huge. No, I understand. I kind of am too. I believe that at that size, no longer a mini. It's more, yeah, a biggie. That's a cool classification for it. Well, the new Vega, or not, sorry, I'm about ready to update the files, and that will include a pre-supported version. So you won't have to, so while it may still be a few extra parts than what you prefer, Jungle, you'll at least be able to get it printed without having to deal with all the supports yourself. My goal this year is to continue going back and updating some of the old files too, so that they will now have pre-supports. Well, the 5-piece Vega is not going to happen. We actually are including, Kursala put together, like, where you would get like the entire base done, and then like the arms will already be on the torso. But I won't be pre-supporting those because I don't really think there's a way to do it in a way that's gonna look great. So I was gonna include it, but it's kind of up to everybody else to kind of do that if they want. Especially I didn't always glue my freaking fingers together. You can get pliers. They got those self-closing pliers, where if you're not holding it, it's automatically closed and you have to pinch it open. I believe that you've been doing this long enough. You should be able to glue some things. I believe in you, Jungle. I think you can do it. Lucas did great things, but I think he really did polish a bit too much. Yeah, a little bit in some places. I certainly don't like to glue my fingers together. I try really hard not to, and then sometimes I like panic because I did anyway. And like, quick before it sticks, I gotta pull it off. Yeah, post the picture. I want to see the Panther. There was one model. Oh man, I just like kept gluing myself. I'm like, what is going on? I don't remember what it was. There was something I did a couple months back, and I kept gluing stuff to myself. And I'm like, this is nuts. I am an experienced freaking player. This should not be happening to me. And it kept happening. Let's do, where did I put the, oh, gunmetal. Yeah. It's not a Panther. I saw someone say that on Facebook. They were like, "Oh yeah, the Musketeer. It's the not a Hollander." Like, you know, it's a mech with a cannon on its shoulder. Yeah. It's not an original thing to put a cannon on a mech's shoulder and offset the head. But in hindsight, we could have put it on the other side, and at least then people wouldn't have thought it would look like a Hollander. Which is funny, if you just mirror something, it like throws people off. Like, oh, okay, that's fine. Don't you dare use the same shoulder. Shrinking a Musketeer to go proxy is a Giga Hollander. It won't make me upset. I'm just happy that you printed something. Well, yes and no. I think a lot of the time you can have designs that do look really similar. Sometimes they actually are just genuinely inspired off of something. But, you know, it used to be that, I don't know. I know at some point someone's going to design something that looks like, just for like example, the Sierra, right? It's very distinct. I haven't ever seen anything, to my knowledge, I've never seen anything like it. And or if there is, there's only like one other thing. Like, it's not a common design. So I know at some point someone's going to design something that looks like it. As long as it doesn't look like they tried to steal it, and they're like, yeah, the Sierra was where we started it from, or the Hunter or the Spade, because they all kind of have that triangular face. I don't know. I hope I have a little bit better attitude than, as long as it doesn't look like they stole it and they kind of just used it as their beginning inspiration point. But honestly, I've never, well, so far, I've only ever heard from fans saying that something I have is like BattleTech. I had something when I was launching the first Kickstarter, and I was discussing like the lore of it, and someone was like, "That sounds just like the early days of the BattleTech history." And I'm like, I don't even know that much into the BattleTech history, like into like the pre 3025 and stuff. And I'm like, I couldn't have stolen it because I didn't know it. I really truly didn't know it. I try not to let that stuff bother me like it used to, because I would try so hard to be original or something and then feel like you're just being blamed for plagiarizing somebody else's stuff. Real question is, why did the design the cannon on the right shoulder? I thought it looked good. I'm not even sure. Well, my wife is left-handed, and we're pretty confident one of our sons is going to be left-handed. But he kind of flip-flops, but he seems like he's more left dominant. But yes, I know it is a right-handed world in most in most ways. But I don't even remember because Strieger had designed the Musketeer, and I don't even remember if it was in the notes of which shoulder to go with. And I think we were just kind of discussing like, yeah, it could have a cannon, and then we'll offset it. And I do not remember, I didn't pick a Hollander as the inspiration. I don't even, maybe I do remember what I went with, and it was a different mech entirely. It was not the Hollander. And that was still like It doesn't look anything like the mech that we started with. I'm not going to convert to the sinister agenda. I'm scared of it. The left-handed menace is a real thing. You got to be careful with those left-handed people. Why does it look like... Oh, there was just a bubble. Oh, man. Stab it, hand. I'm gonna have to come back over there with black. Pack Hunters was one of my favorites and had a giant gun on its shoulder. Yeah, no, that's true. It did. As long as my Pack Hunters aren't doing somersaults, I think we're fine. Didn't... I remember reading that in one of the Dark Age novels that the Pack Hunter 2 did like a somersault or a cartwheel or something. I'm like, what the... How did it do that? And I looked at the model and I like looked back at it like, no, it wouldn't. That couldn't do that. This is one of the first times of being exposed to lore not matching what you can see with your own eyes. Plus, there's tons of Gundams and other mecha designs with shoulder guns. Right. There isn't, I don't know how many there are with like an offset torso, you know, where it feels like that. Okay, that's where the cockpit is. That's the face of the machine. It's offset. Then a gun, but whatever. I know the truth. I didn't use a Hollander as reference, so I sleep fine at night. And look, if someone buys the file and they're like, hey, this looks like a Hollander, I'd be like, hey, thank you for buying it. Now, where is... Ah, there it is. It depends on, like... Oh, there's not very much of this left. There's enough for this. I could see certain mechs being able to do a somersault, but they have to be designed that way. I haven't gone so far as to decide exactly how the echoes work in Revelations, but if there was a mech that could do it, it would be something like an echo because it moves like how a human moves. So, but you would still have to consider that when it's rolling, it is damaging itself. So you're rolling to avoid worse damage, but you have to kind of acknowledge still that like it hurt itself to do that. Now, I guess you could go like the Gundam route, and they're like, well, it's made out of such strong Gundanium alloy that, you know, normal maneuvers like rolling on the ground, metal on concrete or metal on metal, it doesn't do anything to it, you know, because it's a Gundam. All right, Verg, have a good night. Thanks for coming. It's kind of cool. We're up to 38 Twitch followers is what they're referred to. I'm trying to learn the different nomenclature. Thinking about going back to using Instagram as well. I haven't used it in a while. But I'm not really loving the idea of it either. Just because, you know, it's one more platform and it's just, but it would be nice to be able to continue getting Revelations out in front of more eyes, and Instagram is not a bad idea for that. We're going to be coming up with videos soon, God willing. Finally got, like, I think I finally have now all the pieces in place. I was so annoyed. I had forgotten when we moved. I I was borrowing somebody's camcorder. So I was giving it back to them. And I was like, oh, my camera plate is still on here, you know, where it locks into the tripod. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll take this. And I put it in my pocket thinking, I'm going to set this in my pocket so I remember that I have it. I do not know where I put it. So then I had to just buy another one the other day. Well, actually, I had to buy two because I bought one, got it, did not fit. So I had to buy another one. That one does fit. But I could not buy the official brand that I had purchased from. So it's just been, a lot of this has been like paper cuts. Like, oh, you forgot camera plate's missing. You need to go buy that. Oh, you forgot. You're dealing with the lens situation, which I think I finally got at least a decent enough lens. I have to try it on me though. I've been trying it on models. I have to return one of them. Because I bought two. But it's all good. It's a first world problem, but I'm one of those people that's like, okay, once this works, I'm done with this. I can move on to the other thing. I don't have to keep thinking about it. So the fact I have to keep thinking about it is like, it's very annoying. I need to do that too. Links to my art page on Facebook. So yeah, exactly. And it's increasing exposure is like such like for us as creators, it's like it's a big part of it, but like it's not easy. It's not easy. And we don't have like big endorsements or a whole bunch of people on YouTube making videos about our stuff, so like it just sometimes feels like every sale is really hard work, which is not a problem because it is work, but you know what I mean? Like, feel a lot more like, yeah, I actually had to earn those sales. They weren't just handed to me. Which can be good or bad, but awesome. Well, thank you for that. I'll have to take a look at that article as soon as I can. I'm excited for the blog idea, and like right now it's just an experiment. We're just testing out to see how it's received by the community, by visitors to the store, and try to see how things go with it. I'm hopeful for it though, because it would be a really cool thing. It's an opportunity to get into a lot of different topics that I can't normally get into. So hopefully it'll be well received. Especially since the only stuff I'm getting to sell aren't linked to Battletech. I'd be rich if I sold Battletech stuff. Cult 3D awards are to be believed. I'm in the top 600 most downloaded creators. That's huge. That seems really big to me. Are you in the top 600 without selling Battletech stuff? Because I know Cults isn't exactly like a small site. I don't know exactly how big, but I know it's not like amateur hour over there in terms of like visibility. Hey, Sigmus Maximus. Painting up the Tiras here. Moving on to the wash phase, so it's good progress so far. Ugh. I don't know if that was something in there or no. It's just a little dark. Yeah, stompy pose. Put a tank under there. I could do that. I didn't think about that. Definitely, this pose definitely lends itself to being used for that at some point. You'd have to pick probably a different leg for the opposite side, but you could definitely use this right leg here for that. Which, when this comes out, it'll be like the Musketeer. You'll get 2 poses in the STLs. Both are going to be pre-supported, which will be great. People that want to get to printing as soon as possible. And we'll make both available for sale as physicals as well. Oh, okay. Your old Battletech ones too. That seems absolutely crazy, Ion. Then, considering your numbers, I'm even more thankful that you've been willing to help out Revelations with designs. Trying hard not to leave bubbles, because I've done that in the past, and then I kick myself because that forever that model is, you know, messed up by that look. Try not to be in such a hurry that I don't want to do it wrong. Well, actually, he had told me, Ion, that he only received the just the parts. He didn't have like one time with the Hunter. I think you had sent over like your posed version as well. Didn't matter because either way, I told him, I was like, you know, I really like. There was something about. It was the one picture that the render that you did where the T-Ross is like coming towards it's like a head-on image, and I was like, that is such a cool looking image. I want to be able to do the in motion walking. So we ended up doing our best to replicate it, and I think the only difference, we in the render turned the torso to the right when you had it more to the left, but that was because then we did the other one to the left. But anybody could print this and do it in that direction if they wanted when assembling. I was just trying to copy the renders for the assembly that I did. I don't normally do that, but this time I specifically wanted to. I don't know, I was trying something different to see if this is what it looks like in 3D, this is what it looks like, you know, printed kind of deal. Ooh, just missed the entire top of that leg. Good thing I went back and saw it. You guys ever done that before? Like when you're applying a wash, you just completely miss a spot, like an entire spot. You don't even notice it though until you go back to paint something else. You're like, oh no, I missed it. It really just lent itself to that pose. It's a really natural looking pose for this. It's really, I don't know, it shows everything off in the right way. Are those bubbles? What the heck? I don't know what that was. That was weird looking. Probably shouldn't have touched it. Put a little bit more wash there. We'll just leave it. Huh. That's weird. Interesting. Well, I'm going to touch that up anyway once it dries, so I'm not really super worried.
Mostly do pin washings, missing a spot. Yeah, I've thought about trying to learn that. I've been doing these this way. I need to stay consistent so that they all look right. But I will probably attempt pin washing with a future unit. I've even thought about using snake patterns. I have not. A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I'm not really sure I feel confident in doing an entire company that way yet. I might experiment with that at some point.
Yeah, a merc unit that does that would be cool. At least I think do pin washing. Yeah, I that's why I've been kind of, I think it was Verg that was talking about it before. And I was like, yeah, that does sound like I should try it. But the other thing is, you know, this entire force is supposed to be very easy to replicate for less experienced painters. So I'm trying to figure out where that balance is of you're doing too many techniques or where you're, you know, it's an interesting challenge where you're trying not to go too overboard, but at the same time you need to do, the stuff needs to look good. It's a really fine line. And like some people, you know, they might just do the wash and just be like, yeah, I'm done. And that's where I used to stop, you know, but I don't anymore. Yeah, I've thought about testing it again, but in the past, doing the gloss, I can smell it, even like when it's been months after, and it's kind of like made me not want to do it. But I would like to try it one more time before I just write it off forever or something. Cavalier action is sorcery. Well, while that first one is drying, might as well move on to the emerald for the other one. Yeah, I'm sure weathering will be its own. I do very limited weathering right now. But I know that is something I do want to get into more and more down the road. Even if it was just for like these units are not meant to be the easier to achieve ones. You know, it's like the ones where you're like, you know, you've decided you're going to spend a while doing this one. Yeah, well, the Juggernaut, yeah, I did decide I wanted to kind of try it, and that was where I did go a little bit more. But even that was still relatively easy. When I go back to doing more Faust stuff, all those guys, I'm trying to keep them with that sort of scheme. So we'll see once I get into some more red goodness, like with the Anya. I was going to do one Anya for the Sturm Hammers, which is for the Juggernaut color, and then do one that is for the Krasny Molat, which will be more of a an olive green, darker than this. This was meant to be army green, but it kind of comes in a little lighter than I wanted, so I want to do like a darker green to show off the Krasny forces. It's harder to do on 3D prints since they aren't absolutely smooth. And much better luck after getting my 8K printer. Okay. Okay. Getting the panel liner. Okay. Yeah, I could see that being an issue. If that's, you know, like if you're doing like with the gloss. I'm also terribly stubborn sometimes, so then I kind of just do certain things anyway, because it's like, well, I know how to do this. Like, well, that's not the best way. I'm not terribly stubborn. I do try to learn, but I do resist some things because, like, this is working just fine. I don't need to change it yet. There we go. Oh, thank you, Ion. I didn't even notice that you had followed. Thank you. I appreciate that. I know it's not a big deal. It's just like hitting subscribe on YouTube, but you know, slight dopamine when you bigger number. Oh, bigger number means more. It means more, and more is more. More is less than you had before. I ask for critiques every time I paint something. What? Yeah. Need to get me those notes for the additional TRS weapons. Yes, I do. I'm sorry. Yesterday, it may have to end up waiting a few more days, unfortunately, because I have work. You know what? No. Thursday I have a freelance job, but I'm hoping I have some downtime in between. But I don't know that. I need to first figure out how to clone myself. That would be preferred. Then I'd have a lot more time, right? In theory. Well, that's good, Jungle. Being able to get that extra feedback in. Especially if you're trying to, like, jump in quality every time, which I know it definitely sounds like you are. Oh, that was close. Almost messed up that panel. I have no idea how much you'd get done, Whoa. I know how much I would get done if I had a clone of me. All right, what am I missing? I know I need to do emerald on the other shoulder. I would also have like a constant battle buddy for Revelations that I could like do streams with. That'd be cool too, right? Just have to clone myself, that's all. I wouldn't want clones. We'd fight over who has to work, who gets to paint, who gets the computer. I figure I would be reasonable enough that I'd be like, look, we're gonna trade off, okay? We're gonna divvy this up, and we're gonna trade off so that we can be more efficient and get stuff done, and then we can just focus on Revelations. How about that? I feel like that would work if I know myself. See, I have a job I love. We'd both want to do that. Oh, well, you know. But what if you see your clone go start? That is the area that I don't know how I would feel. Bad thoughts come to mind. But thankfully, I'll never be in that situation, so I'll never have to fully know. Please, yeah. Well, me, it looks like we have to file a police report because there's about to be a problem. And you know what I'm thinking. So, You know what must be done. Kneecaps. I feel like it'd be like a really crazy like video idea to have like the same level of like commentary on somebody painting as it would be like watching golf. There Rick goes, using his small layer brush. Coming up, oh, he went too far. He's definitely painted outside the panel. Yeah, his frustration is it's well documented. He's throwing that mini across the room now. Oh, he's gonna have to start all that work over. Every time you finish a part, we all cheer and clap professionally. Yeah. But not too loud, because that's disruptive to a painter. Just like a pleasant clap. I don't even know what kind of mental condition somebody must undergo to paint. Well, it's easier to see on this one. To paint a uniformed leg pattern, and then when you get to the top, you're like, I don't know, that panel, I don't give a crap. Just finish it up. I feel like painting cheering would be more like NASCAR and less like. I don't know about that. That'd be an interesting thing to put on a planet in Revelations. Actually, it would work really well in the Turon Commonwealth because they're very education and arts oriented. So like they may actually have painting competitions. That would be something. Where it's like live and they're all working on something. Not like paint by numbers. That would be dumb. But it could be something reminiscent of that. More like pro wrestling. That would be like if Orca got a hold of the painting competition. Now we're gonna really show you how to have fun with painting. What else did I get everything? I think I did. Just need to do the gunmetal on this one as well. Oh, I didn't paint that. Oh no. I have to mix more gray just to do that. What do you mean? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it like a special type of psychosis or something to... No, it's symmetrical. I don't know. Whatever. But I didn't do that on the Musketeers either, but it wasn't as noticeable because the Musketeer doesn't have, you know, it's not symmetrical. So told people I don't know painting rules. I just do what I think looks good. That is a very angry stickman face. I'm just It's a very angry stickman face. I don't know why he looks so angry. It's mostly because of that carrot on his head, but you know. Alright, since we have some of the gunmetal already here, let's just use that first. See? Whoa gets it. Symmetry's overrated. It's so 2022, okay? My eyebrows have crashed together with the fury of a Hawaiian storm wave. Careful there, Maui. You're gonna hurt yourself. Ooh. I mean, it's not. Isn't it? Well, when you paint one, you can show me how I'm wrong and do it that way, and we'll get to laugh together about how much mine looks wrong. Hey, I would love a painting buddy. What are you talking about? Well, this this one gets both. Oh, this is not painting buddy? Oh. Then what would it be then? Painting mentor? I would take that too. Especially if you did like different colors, and then like we could take those like finished pictures and we could like put it into like a guide so like people could learn how to paint other things. That would be cool. Eh. It's a painting, maybe like a painting dojo. That could be cool too, right? Paint commandeering. Nah, that looks stupid. I'll have to undo that later. I really wish I could go to Adepticon. My brain has been trying to figure out a way to be able to justify it. Even though I wouldn't be able to take like almost any product, I would just really be going just to maybe be able to just like demo it with some other people. And I'm like, I can't really justify it. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But I want to go. I want to do a table there, but I feel like I wouldn't want to trust flying with a bunch of stuff because I feel like they would break it. So I feel like I'd have to drive, which then I got to rent a vehicle. You know, I want to do it though. The other downside was I didn't think this year it just doesn't financially work, but I can't run the table by myself, so I have to either like split it with somebody or bring someone with me or something, you know. I'm not quite ready to Oh, you live
I remember. Oh yeah, I forget that you live that close there. But you're gonna be wanting to do like all other kinds of stuff. You don't want to just be. Maybe next year it'll work out. Oh, I would like to. This year I feel like if I went there, everything that I'd want to do with like, oh look at this new mech game. Oh look over there, BattleTech's doing their next Kickstarter, and then that would be that. I don't really feel like this is the year to go. I didn't know you live 15 minutes away from there. That's crazy close. That really is. All right, it's time to do the wash. Yes. Gonna do the wash on this one too, since the other one's over there. Yeah. Now, if I was going to Adepticon anyway, as like I was saying, like as like an attendee that also had stuff to be able to do a demo table, that's one thing because you're not there to promote this big launch. But as far as like a big, like now that BattleTech, I mean, it's been a month or so now that they've announced it, but now that BattleTech's going to be doing their kickoff at Adepticon, I feel bad for all the other small creators that are doing anything similar to this that were going there, even like sci-fi games. I feel like a lot of wind in the room is going to get sucked out, even if you're not doing mech. Just, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it would be a lot of money to pay to feel invisible. That's almost like meme worthy. I paid $5,000 to be here, and all they got is one customer. That would suck. 15 minutes from Adepticon. That's cool. I'm 8 hours away. I don't know. I'm a hot minute away. I've moved at least an hour closer, so that's something. It's one less hour. But I know it's not 8 hours. It's still like 4-ish hours to even get out of Florida. It's just, ugh. Yeah, not needing to pay for a hotel is also nice. Maybe next year it'll work out that I can go. I'd like to go to some sort of convention because I mean, it's exposure to potentially like everybody, right? And I know not everyone's going to see it, but you have zero idea who you could be talking to. When like you're posting stuff online, it can be like you have like next to no reach at all. Not always for, you know, we've been getting better and better with interaction, but I mean, it still would be nice to be able to have like massive exposure. Maybe next year my eldest will have moved out and you can save the hotel room. Hey, that would be nice too. I thought about going to Comic-Con, or the Tampa Bay Comic-Con. That's, you know, it's just 45-ish minutes away from here. I didn't go last year because of everything going on with COVID and wasn't sure what the guidelines were going to be, or if, you know, with everything, you know, are they going to still be doing the temperatures and everything else? And then, you know, because it would just, the thing that and that was what wrote off a lot of other conventions last year for me, was like to think of like, I planned this whole big trip, I set aside all this money, I did all this stuff, did all this prep, and then you get there and you're sick and you're like, and I just go home. It is like, well, I could just use that exact same energy and just do stuff at home and not have to risk that, you know? Because I wasn't sure, like, do you get refunds for your vendor stuff or what? Like, what happens? So I was just kind of just holding off and just seeing how things played out. But I know it would be a good idea. It would help with exposure and stuff and get to meet a lot of people. Especially some of you guys that actually do go.
I think I've only been to 2 conventions like in my entire life. I went to a like as far as like sci-fi or something. Like I went to there was a Transformers convention that was in Florida a number of years back. I got to go to that. I went to a couple of the panels or something. I mean, I was it was just cool to be able to go. I was doing YouTube and stuff at the time. And then I think I went to the Tampa Bay convention, Comic-Con here, but that one was mostly to be able to go to like different vendors and stuff. Yeah, it's really only 2. Having a table at a con, this is a real... It is a real game, damn it! I think, yeah, I agree with you. It would be a big... It would be a positive leap of being able to show it, you know. Which, by the time next year, the infantry will be updated, so everything will print better. The models are being improved. We have new models coming out. There's new lore coming out. There's, you know, there's a lot of stability that's coming out that I think will be able to impress people. And the fact that by then we'll have been at this for like 3.5 years. We're like at the 2.5 mark right now. In terms of the game being launched, not counting development and when I was writing novels and stuff like that, that's adds a couple more years, but there is something to be said about, oh, I don't want to play it if the game's going to die. It's like, well, we've been around for already a couple of years. It's not like we're just a flash in the pan kind of thing. Oh, no, I've been to one other convention. I take it back. I was at an anime convention that was much smaller. I was trying to sell my novels there. I sold a couple. But we have Dragon Con in Atlanta. You were that close and never... Well, it's because it's nerdy, right? I don't know anything about it other than it has an awesome parade, which I also never went. Too many weebs. Yeah, whatever. Go back to paint your tiny robots. I was considering trying to make myself trying to go this year to the Tampa Bay Comic-Con and trying to set up, but I was like, I just don't know any money that I spend on it. Basically, you got to be like, we're not trying to, I'm not going to like make or break kind of thing where like, if it doesn't sell there, like we're out of business or something, but like where it's just, I don't know what the audience would be like, or I feel like if it was something like Warhammer, it's so much more acceptable for people that I feel like they would just grasp it a lot easier. But I don't know. There's always risk, right? There's no way around there being risk. If you were a nerd in the 80s, you had to be a closet nerd. I remember, and I'm you know, mid 30s, and I remember being made fun of for being into nerdy stuff like that. You know, that was by girls, other boys just teasing you for stuff. Like, I know it wasn't nearly as culturally acceptable as what it is today. Thankfully, because my sons are not, especially one of them, isn't quite as well, no, I guess that's not maybe true. My oldest definitely is a lot more into like my interests, but things are a little bit more accepting, which I guess, you know, good and bad, but Was smart and therefore got away. Well, yeah, I mean that's one way. I wasn't stupid, but I wasn't like, oh wow, Rick is smart either. It was okay. But I mean, like, since Big Bang Theory, it's not like it was, right? And I'm sure it was even before that, but I mean, that was like a big cultural moment for a lot of people being exposed to nerd culture in a sense that they had never really probably been exposed to it before. I feel like this bottle's gonna fall over. Like, I didn't advertise what I was into when I first met my wife, but she figured it out pretty quick. And I knew it was like, look, any woman that's gonna stay with me has to be like be okay with it, because otherwise it's just not gonna work. Because I knew I still wanted to be able to make something one day. I don't know if at the time I wasn't thinking Revelations. I was because that idea had been kind of put on a shelf, but. And thankfully, it worked out. Well, she's not into a lot of the stuff that I'm into. She's at least supportive and accepting enough to let me be able to do it without making me feel weird or anything. And I know not every guy has that, so. It's definitely smart, not straight A perfect, but I understand the world and blitz through material far faster. Well, but you also ended up being an engineer, so you're still pretty smart. I was one of the smart kids growing up, so I did the smart kid things, played sports, did the other jock stuff. Yeah, see, I didn't do that part. Yeah, see, that's... My wife didn't have that exact conversation with me, but I mean, I made it clear she doesn't have to like the same stuff as me. That's totally fine. I know some guys, they have their significant other, whether it's their wife or their girlfriend or whatever, but they do have someone that they they hang out and play games with and stuff. And my wife will still play board games and card games and other stuff like that. Her family, the thing is, like, her family wasn't really into games at all. And like my mom's side was absolutely like into card games, not so much board games. That was more my mom. My mom's extended family was more like into card games. Canasta or Phase 10, some of the more classical card games, but that kind of got me started in that. And then that kind of just, I've always enjoyed, for a long time, miniature games, different types of card games, deck building games, the more in-depth board games. Like, even now, I would much rather play a tabletop game of some kind, card games or something, miniatures, obviously, over playing video games. I like video games. Video games has a place in my like arsenal of things that I like to do, but I would much rather have the human interaction in person than playing in a video game myself. But I was like, being like mid-30s, I'm like that generation that had access to all the video games, but also, and then like as internet multiplayer took off, but then also still could play, and then some of the younger kids are not newer, not models, or robots, but like younger kids, they're not as much into the face-to-face. I mean, technically they are newer kids, but it still feels wrong. Like there's some like iPhone or something.
My kids get legit confused when they're in the same room as their friends. And that's crazy to me because, like I said, I'd rather play a game with somebody right there. I like the competition against someone that's right there with me. But, like, I'm fine. If I lose, whatever. I want to win. I want to play to win. But I'm okay losing. But, like, you just can't experience that the same way as in multiplayer. And I've played thousands of hours in multiplayer games, like Halo and Call of Duty, not as much, but like a lot of Halo, and then other games over the years. But there's still nothing like competing against someone that you can see and talk to, But I know I've heard a lot, especially since COVID too, that a lot of people are, even adults are they've kind of lost a lot of social skills, or they never developed them, because they're so used to doing things through a screen that they haven't had to interact. And it's just very interesting. It'll be really crazy, like when I'm in my 60s and 70s, to see how much the world has changed, because you hear about that growing up. Oh, it's not like how it used to be. We did blah, 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 blah. And you're just like, well, I understand how it used to be, whatever, but like now it's totally different. And then to see that now with another generation, and how they just look at the same situation differently. Halo LAN parties were fun. Yeah, I don't understand it either, and it's just kind of, in a way, a sign of the times. It's just how people are progressing, at least in this country. I know it's not like that in every country, because we're first world problems, right? You have the ability to Uber and other things, or Uber Eats, so you're not even having to leave your house to get takeout anymore. You see someone move out of town and don't choose to be around people a lot, and they turn to freaking weirdos fast. Unless there's another massive tech leap, we might be able to keep up. Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. It's it's going to be interesting in the next couple of years how things progress, good or bad. It'll be interesting, but like I feel like I'm sort of like a hybrid. I don't mind being around people. I'm not really so much of an extrovert, which might seem weird for the type of stuff I try to do promoting Revelations all the time, but I'm really not much of an extrovert. When I'm out in big groups, I don't have a problem talking. I just normally stay quiet and I just observe. But like when I'm with friends or something, I have no issue discussing and sharing things. It's just mostly I figure most people don't really care what somebody else thinks, so I kind of just don't share a great deal except when asked. Or like when I was a manager at Chick-fil-A, obviously you have to talk. You're leading people. You're dealing with, especially when you're dealing with customers, you have to talk. But I mean, being very active verbally, you just need that, right? But I can just be fine. I can stay, like over Christmas break, right? I had about 2 weeks off, not counting Christmas, not, stuff like that. But like, now granted, I have my family here, so I get to socialize with people and little ones. But like, I was here for like 2 weeks. I think there was like about a week I didn't leave the house. At one point I left and I'm like, oh, gas went back up. Like, when was the last time I saw the gas price? I couldn't remember because I hadn't been out. I was just here working and I was completely fine. So I can be fine here or I can be fine out, whatever. Yeah, I know what you mean, Shock. The culture is rapidly progressing and not in all positive ways. See, Rick, I'm the extrovert with all the introvert. I guess so. Yeah, that's where I can do either. I am like that, but I would very easily just defer back, and then like by doing like revelations, I obviously have to promote, I have to talk, I have to share it, right? But even though it's me typing a lot of the stuff up or anything, it's not about me. You'll notice a lot of the time I don't talk about my personal life because I just stay private with that. And I figure most of the people in the community don't really care because they're not there for hearing about my problems. So every day I feel like Grandpa's the same. All right, well, what are you going to print, Jungle? Is it a BattleTech mech? Read a book all quiet like and try not to wake my wife up. Oh, okay. But if you're getting off, have a good night. Thank you for being here. You actually don't know? Maybe it's an Anya. Could be an Anya. Anya's not even that big. You could fit 2 things on there. At least 2 things. But either way, have fun printing. I need to do some more printing myself. I'm making some modifications to the Republic Marines to the original file. I'm trying to thicken it up some. And like I still need to share the Raider files that I improved. But which can't really see it there. I'll put it over here so you can see it. Yeah, little guy. But the Republic Marines will be a little bit hardier. I'm thickening like the shield up and other stuff, so it'll print a lot better, but it's still retaining the visuals of what it was. Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm at a good spot where I think I'm probably just gonna stop for the night because I'm gonna let those thoroughly dry and get back to work on those in another time. So I appreciate you guys being out and hanging out with me. I appreciate having somebody else to talk to. But anyway, thank you guys for being here. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Next week, if you're coming back, next week I'm going to be shifting. I'm probably going to do the stream on Wednesday. Tuesday is my anniversary, so I need to not be here doing this. I need to spend time with the missus. So anyway, guys, have a good night. Talk to you later.